that I would be part of a conversation that would unfold the way that I will share it with you tonight. It happened in my rookie year as a class moderator. It was also my first time teaching co-ed high school. So one morning, as I often did, I went to my classroom early to bond with my students. As usual, my boys were all outside playing. My girls, quite unusual, were not studying for the quiz they knew I was going to give them. Instead, they were huddled around the youngest girl in class, our bunso, and she was crying. And because she was barely 4 feet tall, my paternal instincts kicked in. I didn't have the nanay voice of Ma'am Devi though. So I said, "Why are you crying? Did you get bullied? Who bullied you? Tell me." And he said, No, it's not that. Well, what's wrong? Is it something to do with your grades? Is it something that happened at home? What's wrong? Tell me, maybe I can help. No, you can't do anything. No, try me. And then one of the older girls told our bunso, "Sige na, sabihin mo na kay Father." And this little girl took a deep breath and said, "Kasi Father, sa lahat ng mga babae sa klase, ako na lang ang hindi nagkakaroon." I must have been as red as a rambutan. Have you ever been in a conversation when, the perfect answer would come only 5 hours later when your conversation partners are all gone? Well, that didn't happen to me. Because 5 hours later, still no snappy retort or witty comeback. All I had was, "Ako rin, hindi pa ako nagkakaroon." Oh my God, bakit hindi pa ako nagkakaroon? Baka buntis ako. Anyway, let's wrap this up. It's time for first period. Except for you. I didn't get that then. I only got it 5 hours later. I can laugh about it now, but that depressed me. And I felt so inadequate. And that night, I remember I was just Googling young girls menstruating. Never mind what people who had access to my browser history would think. Never mind that. But I wanted to know what to do. And I started questioning myself, should I be sent here to teach in a co-ed high school? I don't know what to do. I felt so inadequate. But I kept on Googling all through the night until at the back of my mind, I heard a voice that said, "Why are you questioning if you're a teacher or not? You're a teacher. Just the fact that you're up late at night still trying to know how to help your students, that's a teacher." I never expected that the moment of inadequacy would lead to a moment of vocation affirmation. Fast forward to 2 months later. Again, I went to my classroom early, and my boys were playing outside. My girls, again, were not studying. Instead, they were encircling the youngest girl, our bunso, and there was chatter all around. So I said, what's happening? And then that little girl said, "Father, nagkaroon na ako." And we were jumping up and down. Nagkaroon na siya. Oh my God, what happened? A lesson for you. Never ask an excited teenage girl who just had her first period what happened, because she will tell you in full detail. And I still have all of those details in my head. But it didn't matter then, because we were jumping up and down. I was soaring. It was like I had wings, like Whisper with wings, because that's what she chose, because Charmy wasn't as comfortable. Why do I know all these details? Talk about boundaries, Sir Ron. I never expected that one of my best moments as a teacher would be when my students treated me as a classmate. Fast forward to 2021. the school year in the middle of the pandemic. And in the second semester, my father died. And he died during the week when I was supposed to have my synchronous sessions. And I thought at first, I'll just push through because that's what he would have wanted me to do. He would have said, do your job, do your job. But after one synchronous session, I said, I can't do this anymore. Because again, I felt so inadequate. I was teaching Theo 11. And earlier that semester, we talked about death. And from a position of academic power, I knew everything about death. But from the position of somebody who had just lost his father, I knew nothing about death. And again, I felt so adequate. More than just inadequacy, I felt like an imposter. Because there I was supposed to be helping people find meaning, but I couldn't find sense, or I couldn't make sense out of what was happening to me. So, I wrote to my students, I'm canceling all synchronous sessions for this week. And then an email from one of my students came. Dear sir, I know how it feels. Because last September, I lost my mom to cancer. And it felt like I was lost at sea in the middle of a storm with only a life vest to keep me afloat. The waves of grief would come crashing down on me, and it was all I could do to keep my head afloat. I wish I could say that things will get better. But here I am, 6 months later, still trying hard to keep my head above water. The tides change every now and then, but I've learned how to swim. And I hope that one day I can anchor myself at port again. I hope that a wandering boat will come by and pick me up. Or maybe a lighthouse will come into view and guide me home. But until then, I'll just try to swim. Sir, keep on swimming. You'll never know just how many people will throw you a line. I have that letter memorized because I've read it so many times. Because so many times I would just bring it up on my screen and read it over and over again. Talk about compassion, Sir Oman. That was compassion from my students. I never expected that, again, a moment of inadequacy would lead to a vocation-affirming moment. I never expected that one of the best moments of me being a teacher was me learning from my students. Thank you very much for listening.